point is, back in the 1970s, of course, attitudes were changing, and fashions were definitely changing, and the relationships were changing, as indicated by a story one evening on the CBS Evening News with Walter Cronkite.
A new statistic was released today, which revealed that 25% of all husbands kiss their wives goodbye when they leave the house. Conversely, 99% of all husbands kiss their house goodbye when they leave their wife.
Some of you can obviously relate to that. Heaven knows I can. One of the big TV shows in 1972 was Columbo, which of course starred Peter Falk.
Son of a gun, this is the most amazing thing happened to me the other day. I was sitting in a restaurant, and at the table next to me was this young couple, obviously very, very much in love. I mean, they were making goo-goo eyes at each other, blowing kisses, toasting each other with champagne. Well, I suspect at one point they might have had a little too much champagne, because at one point the young man with a silly smile on his face slides down and disappears under the table. I leaned over, I said, "Excuse me, ma'am, but your husband has just passed out under the table." She said, "No, my husband has just walked in the front door."
And back in 1972, in Austria, there was a young bodybuilder just making a name for himself, referring, of course, to Sonja Henning. Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I am very, very excited today. I just discovered that I'm able to do one-handed push-ups. And this is very convenient for me because it leaves my other hand free to count.
If you're not sure, it's okay. We'll do a slow build here and there. Back in 1972, one of the big movies was The Godfather, starring Marlon Brando. And of course, Marlon Brando, as the Godfather, Don Vito Corleone, had that great line where he said... And another movie that... Marlon Brando is the Godfather.
Boys, we're having a little trouble with the competition. So I want you to go make him an offer he can't refuse. If he does refuse, this is what you do. You tie him up, his hands and his feet. You gag him. You shoot him a couple of times. 4, 5, 7, I don't care. You put his feet in cement and dump him in the East River. And make it look like an accident.
In 1972, Westerns were still popular. And of course, the greatest Western cowboy star of all time was John Wayne, who in fact in 1972 starred in a movie called The Cowboys. John Wayne. All right, men, I want you to listen and listen tight. Well, sir, tomorrow morning at dawn we're going to attack the village. We're going to ride into town yelling and screaming, and when we get there we're going to do 3 things. We're going to kill all the men, stampede the horses, and then we're going to make love to the women. And this time, let's try and get it right. I'll give you time to visualize it. We were going to have charts up, but we decided. Also, back in 1972, Michael Caine was making a name for himself in films, and he had just started a movie called Z and Company, which nobody saw, with Elizabeth Taylor, in which he played a husband whose marriage was in trouble because of all of his drinking.
You know, last evening, I had a terrible fight with my wife. I came home after 3 or 4 hours in the pub, and she said to me, you know, I think if you really loved me, you wouldn't drink so much. I said, if I didn't drink so much, I don't think I'd really love you.
I'm sorry, but I like that one too. Also in 1972, Jack Nicholson made a movie called Carnal Knowledge. Jack Nicholson. Well, the craziest thing happened this morning. I woke up and my girlfriend was stroking my forehead with a feather. Stroke, stroke, stroke. I looked up, I said, "What the heck are you doing?" She said, "Well, compared to the way you made love to me last night, I'm beating you to death." The women seem to appreciate that more than the men. I don't know. And finally, back in 1972, Sean Connery, big star then, big star today, Sean Connery had actually just done his last James Bond movie in 1971. One last one he said he was going to do, which was Diamonds Are Forever. Sorry, I'm not used to being up this late. He said he was going to take a year off and kind of relax and take it easy, which in fact he did in 1972.
Yes, that's very true. In fact, I remember one evening, my wife and I had been out for a very pleasant evening. Went for dinner, a little dancing. We were driving home, a policeman pulled us over. He came up to the car, he said, "You were speeding." I said, "I was not." He said, "Yes, you were." I said, "I was not." He said, "Yes, you were." I said, "I was not." Finally, my wife piped up. She said, "Officer, you may as well give up. There's no point arguing with him when he's had this much to drink."